The attack in the night was brutal. No one knew what hit the ship. A long explosion followed by howling screams woke everyone up. By the time they rushed to the deck, half of the crew had been shot dead together with the security personnel. Arnold couldn't believe his eyes. When they went to bed that night, they were all untouchable, the world's wealthiest. Now, they were all being rounded up by pirates. Being further in the back, he took his chances and slipped away unnoticed. The memory of a lifeboat near the quarterdeck came to his mind. As long as he got away safely, the others could burn alive for all he cared. Approaching the lifeboat, he noticed 4 people next to it. 2 women were waiting, looking around nervously as the 2 men were trying to release the boat. The women jumped at the sight of Arnold, pointing him out to the men.
"You got away too?"
Arnold asked, inconvenienced as he got near them.
"We are getting away."
A familiar voice came from the darkness. Arnold could not make out the man's face in the night, but the voice was unmistakable. It was his boss.
"You, on the other hand, need to find another boat. This one takes only 4.
He continued dismissively. Arnold felt his pulse increase, his face glowing red in the dark and his whole body radiating a heat that could be felt 2 feet away from him. As his boss stepped in the boat, Arnold pulled him out and thrust his pen into the man's eye, a horrific scream breaking through the noise at the bow of the ship. A pirate running towards the noise caught a glimpse of what was happening and opened fire. Arnold jumped in the boat, followed by the other man and one of the women. The second woman fell in the boat as they released it. She had been shot in the stomach. The cloudy sky had been their friend that night, as the pirate could not see them and they were able to slip away into the vast darkness. Here they were now in a drifting rubber boat, lost and tired after a night of paddling with their hands, the paddles lost in the escape. Arnold could still not fathom how those creatures inferior to him had the gall to attack them, the world's elite, the ones who controlled the direction of modern civilization. He took a look around at the others in the boat. His hopes of escaping alone and having the boat to himself had gone down the drain. The man and the brunette woman seemed suspicious of him. They would whisper to each other as they stared at him from the corner of their eyes. The blonde woman had gone pale. She did not have the strength to lift her head properly and was staring in the distance. With no medical help, she would not last long, a thing that did not bother Arnold. After all, that meant more room on the boat.
"What?"
He erupted at the couple after a few moments, annoyed by their constant staring and whispering.
"If you were in my position, you would have done the same damn thing, and you know it."
The blonde woman turned her gaze at them, her mouth half open. The day went by quietly after that, an unsettling tension growing as the night set in. Hunger and thirst started taking over them, and as the sun shone its last, the biting cold made itself known. Only now did they start feeling the sunburns, the pain opening their eyes to the gravity of the situation. Not even the cold night air could calm down the burning pain. Come morning, they were all shivering uncontrollably, begging for the sun to shine again on their burnt skin. The blonde woman was staring at Arnold now, black bags under her eyes and purple lips, more dead than alive.
"We could eat her."
The brunette woman broke the silence in a shaky voice, overtaken by a primal survival instinct. She looked at Arnold expectantly, her husband visibly disgusted by the idea.
Be my guest. Her wound's infected. You eat that?
He pointed at the blonde woman.
I'm going to have even more legroom in a couple of days.
Scared, helpless, and powerless to react, the woman had soiled herself hearing the dark fate being discussed in front of her by minds that no longer seemed rational. With the sun getting stronger, the smell became prevalent. The three gave the blonde woman a disgusted stare as the stench hit them.
You filthy bastard!
Arnold shouted as he kicked the woman.
I can't believe this!
He turned to the other man.
Give me a hand, we're throwing this dead weight off the boat.
As the two approached her, tears built up in her fearful eyes. With all her remaining strength, she started mouthing what seemed to be, "Help me," at the other woman. Seeing this, the woman rushed in and helped the two throw the helpless girl out of the boat.
Food for the damn fishes.
Arnold muttered, watching her sink into the depths of the ocean.
We need to flip this boat.
The other man interrupted him.
If we leave it like this, we'll end up ill. The damn thing is full of piss, pus, and God knows what else.
He exclaimed, disgusted by the brown yellowish liquid bouncing around the boat as the waves hit it. With a combined effort, they flipped the boat upside down, weakened by the lack of food and water from the last 2 days, as well as nights of fighting the cold without a minute's rest. They were exhausted, but somewhat capable still of rational thinking. They decided to go under the boat 2 at a time to clean it, a third one keeping an eye out for sharks. Just as the two men were about to finish cleaning the boat, the woman started hitting the side of it. As the two surfaced, they could see fins in the distance approaching at great speed. Panic set in as they scrambled to flip the boat back, a task that with a boost of adrenaline proved easier than getting back in it. Arnold, being of a sturdier build, managed to pull himself into the boat and lean against the other end. The couple were shouting at him, asking for help, but their calls went unanswered. With a final adrenaline-fueled effort, the man helped his partner into the boat, countless fins surrounding him. The woman turned around to lend her partner a hand, just as a painful shriek pierced the air. She watched in horror as the one she loved was being torn apart by sharks. Limbs missing, bits of flesh breaking the water surface. The rocking of the boat scared even Arnold, who was now trying to balance it. As the commotion came to an end, all that was left was the man's head. Lifeless eyes, inset in a face twisted by pain and fear, were now sinking into the depths. Just as that girl that they had mercilessly sent to her death.
Hunger made you deaf now.
The angry, powerless woman snapped at Arnold.
I am exhausted. There was nothing I could do.
Arnold grinned through cracked lips. The night set in again, this time even worse. Not only could they not sleep from the cold, hunger, and burning skin, but the air around the boat was covered in fear. Fear of each other. The morning was slow to arrive. However, it held a pleasant surprise. An island visible in the distance reinvigorated them. Hunger and thirst seemed to fade away. With this newfound energy, the two rowed incessantly towards it. Approaching land, they jumped out of the boat and kissed the sand. Joy took over them as they made their way towards the vegetation in hopes of finding food and water. They were in the South Pacific, so they should be able to find some coconuts at least, or so they thought. Their joy was short-lived though. Advancing through the vegetation, an arrow flew past Arnold and buried itself deep into the woman's skull. With the woman falling to the ground, Arnold turned around and sprinted back to the boat. A sharp pain in his back proved to be too much for an already exhausted body, and he fell unconscious, face first in the burning sand. Arnold woke up to a terrifying scene. These powerful people that ruled the world had been reduced to nothing more but livestock. The woman had already been butchered and cooked over fire. He could see the tribesmen and children eating her. Regaining his awareness, he could feel a burning sharp pain overtaking him. He looked down to witness his skin falling off his body as he was being boiled alive. Surrounded by cannibal children poking him with sticks, Arnold let out a powerful scream of pain, fear, and anger. The pain of being cooked alive, the fear of the unavoidable death, and the anger at the realization of his own mortality.